Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Okay. Good morning. Tapaka banje. Eh? Artista banje. Okay, so trust me, there's always new faces in here. Sir, how are you? No, this one here. How are you, sir? Huh? What's your name, sir? Nanga Maguire choka foot. Okay, so I know by now we should have written a test, okay? Why are you trying to put this blame on me? Are we ready for a test? So here's the thing, all right? So here's the deal. Ideally, by now, you should have written a test. Because I think on both ends, we've covered over 2 topics. And that's enough. So on average, each subject, we have about 4 to 5 topics. Okay? So what this means is that you have more responsibility. Because the next time that we set an exam, or a test, you have so much to cover. And we are not writing just yet because I am moving a lot. Okay, I can't. So yeah? No. So here's the thing. I know it's all fun and games up until you're in that exam room and you've never solved any question. But tomorrow I want to check my questions there. So the reason why we mostly say, look, let's write a test, it puts you in that state of, okay, I've got so much time, these are my questions, and I am forced to answer them. Because on your own, it's quite hard to do that. Like wapeza che paper, then you say, okay, look, let me just try to answer this within maybe an hour or 2. You can't really do that. But what you want is to condition your brain and your psyche to think, I am in this phase, I need to answer these questions. Okay? So I know it's cool for you guys right now, you're chilling. And as lecturers always say, before exams, it's your time, right? It's your time, you're shining. You can, do whatever you feel like. But that D-Day is coming, right? That D-Day is coming for you to answer our questions. Then we'll be the ones to shine now. Okay? So, I'll be in touch with the class rep. I'll give you maybe 2-3 days before, in terms of a notice, when we can actually sit for a test. But for now, because of what I am thinking will really be happening with my works, October, November especially, it's going to be very busy. So I would want us to cover as much as possible. How many weeks do you have, by the way? 6 weeks. Yeah. It's a better option for me to just run you through everything, give you all the questions, as long as you're able to answer those questions, because they are showing up in an exam. All right, let's do something. Let's do something. I'm just here for a maximum 50 minutes, so can we please keep quiet? Nikaribu nambo punzi sazona question. Ndio funafunza. Advan sir. No. We're doing groundwater. What's your book, your groundwater? Now, I was looking at how much we've done. I think we've covered a bit more ground with water supply. So let's do this. Okay. What is groundwater? What is groundwater? I know this is not the first time we're hearing of this. What comes to mind? Yes, madam. So someone is talking. Yeah.
This is the runoff from the surface that has deposited
to the ground. Okay. Anybody else? What is groundwater? What comes to mind when you hear groundwater, groundwater, groundwater? And now, because of what we're going through, it's the worst phase ever. Okay. So people are interested. People have known, the importance of just water in general. Because without water, as a whole country, you are so much dependent on water that's where your majority of your energy comes from. So people are interested, if it doesn't rain and then the surface water isn't there, which other sources of water do we have? It's underground water, right? You want to add some? Okay.
And ends up being stored
in aquifers. Okay, cool. Anybody else? What do you know about groundwater? How do we get to groundwater? What is groundwater used for? Anything about groundwater? Yes, sir.
So groundwater is basically just water underneath the surface of the earth.
Okay, so this topic is very much basic. Most of it is general knowledge, I think. So I'm going to define a few parameters, just some general concepts and definitions. All right. So general concepts and definitions. Okay. So I'm going to define the majority of those terminologies, some definitions, some concepts. Hoping that there'll still be time, we can also get down to a point where we discuss how we can measure how much water can come out of which aquifer. Are we together? So ideally, as engineers, everything is about numbers. You cannot just go to a place and of course you do the measurements and you discover that there's water there. For engineering, it's a bit more involving in a sense that we want to know exactly how much water will come out of that particular point. Okay? And when you do that, it's very easy for you to make decisions from a point of what type of a pump can I put, how long can this aquifer be sustained, to what levels in terms of the water table can this water really just go down. Okay, So what this topic really just wants us to do, let's know the definitions, then we'll get to calculate. We'll get to calculate how much water we can abstract from a certain point given certain parameters. Are we together? All right. So, Madam Sadi, yes. I shared with her some slides that have got some definitions. I hope you've come across them. Okay, so there's a lot more involved. It's just that these are some of the more catchy ones that sort of come back every now and then. So like I always say, hydrology is very, very wide. Okay, but let's get down to this point. So some are going to be defining and then some we won't. All right, so let's try to define this. And I know you do have this information, but it's important to repeat in terms of reading them through. You can read them through again if you want. So ideally, I'm told you're supposed to read something about 3 times before you can retain even 60-70% of it. So in class, we can say it's the first time. You go back to your rooms, to your levels, you do that one more time, and then maybe before your exam, you do the same. All right? So let's try to define what groundwater is. Groundwater is the water beneath the ground. Groundwater is the water beneath the ground surface. Groundwater is the water beneath the ground surface. Groundwater is the water beneath the ground surface contained in void spaces. Open bracket. Pore spaces between rock and soil particles. Open bracket. Pore spaces between rock. Pore spaces between rock and soil particles, comma, or bedrock fractures. Or bedrock fractures. Close the bracket. Are we there? So this is so much tied to the soil science that you did in second year, because in second year you spend so much time talking about the moisture content, and that the ground that we have has got pore spaces, and usually those pore spaces are the ones that are capable of housing or containing or having water in them. So the same concept applies even in hydrology. So anything below the ground surface, you are likely to find water there, because much as, yes, it is ground, but then there are pore spaces that are able to contain water. Okay, one very common terminology, which as engineers you're supposed to have. So I always say lawyers have got their own language, yeah? And whenever you've committed a crime, you go to them for, what do they do? What's that? Consultation fee, if I can put it that way. They'll throw at you terminologies that they know you don't understand. But then because you don't understand, and then you're in trouble, you can't see yourself being in prison because you've got a family and a girlfriend, possibly. I'm not saying you should do that. You end up paying whatever they're telling you to pay. Are we together? So for engineers, we do the same. We have our own language that we use. And we are hoping that not everybody out there knows about them. The aquifers, the confined aquifers and confined aquifers, the piezometric, level-headedness, and all that kind of stuff. All right. What's an aquifer? What's a berengai? But ukambe che the way you understand it. What's an aquifer? What's your name, sir? Eh? I can't get you. Wuchan. Oh, Richard. Ah, my bad, bro, my bad. Yes, Richard. Yes, Richard. Beneath the ground. Okay. Natural reservoir. I like that. Anybody else? How do you understand a reservoir? I mean, an aquifer. What is an aquifer to you?
I think this is where water is stored underground.
Stored underground. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, maybe I can give an analogy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would understand it in this way, like the sponge that we use for washing plates.
Mm-hmm.
So it is an underground storage that gives us access to the water that we want to extract.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it's not possible to extract. So I'm giving an example of a sponge. It's stored underground storage to be thought of in the nature of the sponge that we use for, because it stores water. Once you squeeze it, then the water, that water flows out. So I think you can get.
Okay, thank you for that. Very detailed information. And that's how it's supposed to be. So, let me bring you up to speed of your future, because I am literally in your future right now, because I'm older than all of you, I hope. No, I'm really old, okay? So, when you go out there in the corporate world, all these, for lack of a better term, manners, when someone is talking, you are saying something at the back there. Either you don't understand what he's saying or you don't approve. In the corporate world, you don't say anything. You let the person finish, then you come in. You do not just say something. You do not just crack a joke when someone is talking. In the corporate world, they view back at how you guys react here. They'll say, you guys are not yet ripe for the industry. And I'm not just saying this because I want to. It affects the people, not just that person that you're talking about. The next person will always feel, okay, if I say something, so they'll also say something about me. Don't do that. Just don't do that. When you talk about pull him down, that's exactly what it is. You're pulling him down for what? Okay? So let's be each other's keepers. Let's encourage each other like that. So that wasn't good. Yeah. Okay, let's define what an aquifer is. There's one bit of an aquifer in terms of a definition that you've been leaving out, okay? So an aquifer is an underground layer of water. An aquifer is an underground layer of water bearing. An aquifer is an underground layer of water bearing permeable rock or unconsolidated material open brackets. This could be gravel, it could be sand, it could be silt or clay. Close the bracket, from which groundwater can be usefully extracted. From which groundwater can be usefully extracted using a water well. Using a water well. Using a water well. So, on top of everything that you've been saying, it's a sponge, it's an underground reservoir, okay? one key statement, should I ask you to define what this is, that you shouldn't leave out, is that the aquifer needs to have enough water that can be extracted for useful purposes. So what that means is that sometimes you can drill a borehole, but then it's not giving you enough water that you can make use of. Are we together? And so that does not qualify to be called an aquifer. An aquifer should be one, be able to give you enough water that you can extract and make use of. All right. Another very interesting terminology is called an aquitard. An aquitard. Okay, so just put them in bullet form. So I'm trying to highlight the most important statements of each terminology. Should I ask you, I would want you to... Yes, sir.
So, not to mention extracted for useful purposes. So if I define an aquifer in my own definition, then I set in extracted for useful purposes, it's okay.
Yes. Yes. So I don't expect you to replicate everything that's on this material, but let it just sound like one, it's beneath the soil surface. Down there, it's a reservoir, pore spaces, and you can extract water that you can use. Okay? So it can be stated in any way that you feel like. Okay, aquitard, what is this? So an aquitard is a zone within the earth that restricts. An aquitard is a zone. An aquitard is a zone within the earth that restricts. An aquitard is a zone within the earth that restricts the flow of groundwater. The flow of groundwater from one aquifer to another. From one aquifer to another. From one aquifer to another. Okay. So an aquitard could also look like an aquifer. It can also be a layer, literally, that has got water. Okay? Except it doesn't have the right permeability coefficients. So in short, even if you drilled through a borehole, it doesn't allow enough water to be extracted at the rate you can make it work for you. Are we together? So yes, it looks like an aquifer. It also has water, but it doesn't allow water to pass through it that easily. That being said, it's known as a layer that sort of restricts how much water can move through. So if we get down to the next statement or definition, we'll talk about a confined aquifer. Okay, so let's just talk about that actually. So confined aquifer. What is a confined aquifer? So a confined aquifer, yes, madam.
It's a question on boreholes. So those boreholes that when they drill, they find water, then after maybe 2-3 years,
Mm-hmm.
they're dry. Can you say something?
No. An aquitard from the get-go won't give you enough water. Yeah, so if it has given you water, it's been useful, and then it dries up, it could just simply mean that the water table probably has gone down. Or points where that aquifer used to get recharged way back. Panamangapo mansion. And the way you guys do, you build a house and then you pave the whole yard. For some places, those are recharge zones for these aquifers. So an aquifer can just be, so this is your surface, and then it looks something like this, okay? So this can be your aquifer. And this is just soil. Of course, it's got its own water, but it won't give you as much water as you need. But this is an aquifer, okay? So that if you build a house somewhere here, and so you drill through, you find your water. Are you getting this? This is a recharge point for this whole lot of an aquifer that is going as far as it can go, okay? The problem is when someone gets to build, it could be a mall, just at this very point where this whole Salama Park incidences in the Forest 27. You heard about that, right? That's what they were trying to explain and sort of give light to the politicians. Politicians have his life. So at that very point, because we have analyzed and we have plotted, we know which aquifer is sitting where within Lusaka and where the recharge points are. So you find that at that very point where water, whenever it rains, has sort of a sink through and then it goes to recharge the area. Wamangapo nyumba or a more, and then you just pave the whole area. So what will happen is that the next time you are trying to drill through, you find that your levels in here are not just the same. That's why you don't just build anywhere, you seek permission from people. But then if there are politicians that don't understand the science behind everything, it's hard to convince them. So, confined aquifer. Let's define what that is. It is an aquifer found between two. It is an aquifer found between two relatively impermeable layers. It is an aquifer found between two relatively impermeable layers. Okay? So an impermeable layer in this case could be an aquitard. So this and this guy could be an aquitard or aquitards. And then what you're having in between here is an aquifer.